Big thank you to DAP for sponsoring this video.
If you need to glue up something, it might be simple to think any adhesive will work, but that's not really the case. Each adhesive on the market is engineered for a specific purpose in mind, and they definitely all have something that set them apart from the other. So here's a breakdown of the different classifications of adhesives and how they differ from one another. This way, the next time you find yourself in a situation, you can actually know which one to pick for that specific situation. First up is super glue. Most super glues are ready for this word? Cyanoacrylate. Cyanoacrylate formula. Most of us refer to this as CA, which I much prefer. Know that there are hybrid formulas that make CA even better. For example, standard CA glue is very brittle, but some versions like this one have a little flex so that they can withstand shock, vibration, or even wood movement better. CA glues vary in consistency from thin to watery to thick gels, and I like to have one of each on hand for different occasions. The thin versions soak right into cracks, so you can use them to solidify a loose knot, or even tighten up a loose furniture joint. This isn't as good as taking the joint apart and re-gluing, of course, but it's a great quick fix. You can absolutely buy activator or accelerator, and this is gonna make the CA glue bond instantly. But a really cool DIY for you is a teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/4 cup of water works too. See how well it grabs. Is that enough? Woohoo! Oh, that's awesome! Baking soda and water. And here is my favorite CA glue trick. Instead of keeping double-sided tape around my shop, I just glue painter's tape together for temporary mounting of jigs and templates. So then from here, you would use your router to cut along your template, which isn't moving, and then once it's out, you would be able to pull. At that point, the CA would be completely dry. So then here, the tape comes off, and then you could just rip up all of the tape. Let's talk about wood glue. Despite the common name, yellow wood glue isn't yellow. Some versions are almost white, others are gray or light brown. And you've probably heard that wood glue is stronger than the wood itself, and that's basically true. Often, wood will split before the glue joint breaks.
There's the glue joint, and it broke just to the right of it in the wood itself.
You might have also heard that wood glue doesn't work on end grain. There's a kernel of truth in this, but mostly it's a myth. Doesn't work is too harsh of language. Glue definitely still adds strength to the end grain joints. Wood glue can take a full day to reach its maximum strength, but the initial bond develops fast. So when I'm working with small parts that are hard to clamp, I just hand hold them for a minute or so, then gently set them aside for an hour or two, and it works every time. Wood glue is slippery stuff, and it's really frustrating when parts move while you're clamping. So here's my favorite solution. Shoot and brad nails part way and clip them off, leaving just tiny points sticking out. Those little points will keep parts aligned while you clamp. So that now, when I put it in clamps, it'll hold this position really nicely without slipping and sliding all over the place. Voila! Now I like to scrape off squeeze out when glue is partly dry, but inside corners, that's not so easy to do without making a mess. Here's a trick to prevent squeeze out altogether. You can cut a little curve to catch the glue that would otherwise seep out. Now let's move on to talking about exterior wood glue. The main limitation of standard wood glue is that it doesn't resist water very well, so you shouldn't use it outdoors. But there are versions made for interior or exterior jobs, and using them is almost exactly the same. So if you're gonna keep just one type around, make it this one. I feel like this is gonna be controversial, but it's my #1 rule. Working outdoors, no miters. Outdoor miters almost always open up sooner or later, and no glue ever invented will stop this. So instead of framing a table like this, for example, do this instead. Next up is construction adhesive. Construction adhesive is different from most other adhesives in that it forms strong bonds even when surfaces don't fit together perfectly. That bond can also flex a little, allowing for normal movement in buildings. There are lots of types of construction adhesive. The polyurethane versions are almost magical. They form fast, incredibly strong bonds in a huge variety of materials, even in a very hot or cold weather, and even on wet surfaces. In fact, you can speed up curing by dampening the surface before applying polyurethane. Be aware that extra moisture can cause the adhesive to bubble up and make a mess. I also like the versions that offer instant grab. Since I work alone a lot, it's kind of like having a helper. While most construction adhesives are hard to clean up, I really like this one because it cleans up with water. Construction adhesive isn't essential on trim jobs, but I often use it so I can drive fewer nails, which means fewer holes to fill. Or I can use smaller nails, which are also easier to fill. Keep in mind that most construction adhesives contain solvents that can eat away at some materials, and that's why there are special types, like this one for foam board. Some construction adhesives are really hard to squeeze out of the tube. I have two solutions for that. First, keep the tubes warm. Sometimes I keep them in my coat. And second, grab a better gun, one that costs 15 or 20 bucks instead of 5. All right, on to something I don't use all that often, but when you need it, you need it. Contact cement. Contact cement is an outlier among adhesives with completely different steps and uses. It forms a very flexible bond so that you can use it on flexible materials like fabrics, leather, or rubber. It also sticks really well to non-porous surfaces like metal and plastic. In most cases, you apply it to both surfaces and actually let it dry before joining the surfaces. Dry time is typically 10 to 30 minutes. And if you wait too long, you can just add a second coat of cement over the first. Even years later, you can still re-stick items like a loose countertop end cap using an iron. For big jobs, I apply cement with a roller. And I love this spray can versions. Know that DAP's multi-purpose spray adhesive is even removable. All you have to do is spray just one surface and you get a removable bond, kind of like a sticky note. I usually use traditional contact cement because it dries so much faster, but it also fills the air with strong fumes. So if you don't have good ventilation, a water-based, non-flammable version is definitely the way to go. I really hope that during the course of this video, you have at least learned one thing or two, and I hope that it helps you out on the next project you are gluing together. Leave me a tip if you know of one that I've left out in the video, and I'll see you on whatever I'm working on next, guys.